Welcome to Fantasy Gainz. I'm Squish. I just had to unmute my microphone there. I'm still very technologically unsavvy, even in these trying times of Zoom. Kyle, how are you?
Doing well. I was a little nervous there that your mic was going to be out, and I would have had to carry the show on my own, and none of us would have wanted that to happen. So I'm
You
glad,
carry the show anyway. I'm just here just to look good. You bring the analytics, I bring the manalytics.
I know. That's why we're such a great combination. We got, it's a yin yang situation we got going on here.
Nice.
So I know
bringing
you like
in
that,
yin and yang. That's a nice drop there. All right.
So.
Well, if you haven't joined the NFL Red Zone contest this week, you should. I think a jackpot of what, Kyle? 135K this week?
120K.
120K. I'm sorry. My bad.
Yep,
Hand
no
up.
problem.
That's on me. 120K in total prizes. We're getting up there. We're getting up to the big bucks. And while we're there, let's talk about how we did last week, Kyle. Kyle, you were spot on with your fade.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron Jones he was really good the first few games of this season, and I did not like the matchup against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and he did not have a good game at all. He had 10 carries for 15 yards, only 41 yards in total. Did have a touchdown, but that was easily his worst game of the season against that Tampa Bay Buccaneers run defense. So, yeah, that was a good one by me. Not to pat myself in the back too much, but it was a decent call. Not as good as your stack though.
That's true.
Your stack was even better than my call with the fade.
My stack was pretty good, and I talked myself into it. I said I like a stack of just Watson and Henry. I like a stack of Watson, Henry, and a Texans pass catcher. If you took Will Fuller or Brandon Cooks, you did fine. We ended up with Watson, Henry, and Fuller for that final stack. 40.8 for Watson, 43.47 for Henry, and Fuller with just over 36. Cooks did well also, so if you packed that stack in, you would have done great. And I wish I took my own advice there, Kyle, because I played a head-to-head with my girlfriend, not to brag, but just a little pat on the back there, not to brag, but a little head-to-head. She took all of my plays from our show pretty much in that stack, beat me into the ground. I played myself. I didn't play it. She did. She beat the brakes off me.
You gotta learn your lessons now, Can't be letting that happen anymore.
No,
got to take your own advice. Try not to get too cute. Don't fade these picks that you're giving to the public here. You got to go with your own picks.
That's
true. Trust your gut.
I can say this because she's not here, but I let her win. So.
Ooh. Oh boy. Yeah. I'm glad she's not here, or else we would probably have to pause the show. There'd be a problem. But yeah, in the future, don't fade your picks. You're providing these great picks to the public. You're a gut guy. You got to go with your gut.
Got to go with my gut. We'll get to that later. I got a big gut too. And Bertsky wants to know if face masks are Manalytics. Yes, I did 2 face masks last night for my face. They are Manalytics or Womanalytics, depending on which side of the fence you land on. And help you win this week, Bert. If you listen to us, we're going to help you win. Kyle, your full 100%. Slate must start last week wasn't as great. Thielen ended up getting some points, but who do we have this week for your full slate must start?
So just to go back for a second there. So Justin Jefferson basically stole all of what Adam Thielen I thought was going to do. Justin Jefferson had 9 catches, 166 yards, 2 touchdowns. I thought that was going to be Thielen. What are you going to do? Kirk Cousins decided to throw to Jefferson that game. So there you go. So this week for my full slate must start, can't speak right now, is I'm doing a 180. I'm going with Aaron Jones as my full slate must start this week. So last week, he obviously had the worst matchup possible against the Tampa Bay Bucks. This week, he literally faces the worst run defense in the NFL in the Houston Texans. We saw what Derrick Henry did against the Texans last week. It was violent. It was an ugly scene for the Texans. It was bad. 200 yards rushing for Derrick Henry. And the Texans are last in yards allowed, touchdowns, and fantasy points allowed to opposing running backs. So, there's no way to not pick Aaron Jones here, especially last week where Aaron Rodgers really struggled. He threw 2 bad interceptions against Tampa Bay. They're going to want to, they're going to want to get him back on track, and by doing that, I think would be giving the ball to Aaron Jones, let him gain up let him get big amounts of yards on the runs that he has, set up play action. So I think this is going to be a big bounce back week for Aaron Jones. He was really good. As I mentioned earlier, he was great the first 3 weeks. I think he's going to get back to that form. And, 1.15x, I think I would play him even if he was a 1x. I don't think he would be like my must start at 1x, but I would still play him at 1x. But
and feel confident there. Yep.
Yeah. Now that you have the extra juice at 1.15, that makes him my must start for this week. So, yeah. Went from hating Aaron Jones to loving him now. So,
well, you're hot then you're cold, or yes then you're no, just like Katy Perry, just except it's a little Aaron Jones. You fight, you break up, you kiss, you make up. That's how it goes.
I know. And I did the right thing. I did the right thing last week, and I think I'm doing the right thing this week. So Aaron Jones he's going to be my guy this week.
All right. Good. I'm going with a rookie for my must start on the full slate on the Bengals. And no, it's not Joe Burrow. It's who's quickly turning into his favorite target, T. Higgins. Now, T. Higgins, the Bengals played the Browns in week 2, 6 targets, 3 catches, 35 yards. Since then, you've seen the relationship between Burrow and Higgins really take form with the tight end, Uzama. How do I pronounce it? CJ Uzama. Yeah. All right. So he's gone.
I'm the one giving you the pronunciation lessons.
I know.
This time. What a change.
I know. I had to take a nap. We talked about this. I'm off my game right now. But yeah, CJ Uzama, he got hurt. You've seen AJ Green decline. Tyler Boyd is there. Auden Tate is also there. But T. Higgins has been the guy for Joe Burrow. In the last 6 weeks, he's averaging 8 targets per game, 4.75 catches, and 76 yards. He has not scored a touchdown in quite a few weeks now. I believe he's due. Cleveland cannot defend the pass. They've allowed 9 touchdowns to receivers this season through the air, and wide receivers against Cleveland. There have been 5 wide receivers this season that have had at least 5 catches against the secondary. In those games, those 5 receivers have averaged 7 catches for 91 yards, and those receivers have combined for 4 touchdowns. I think Higgins is going to be a guy to do that. We saw their passing attack, what it can do. We saw how bad Cleveland was last week. I do believe that, things are going to turn around a little bit for that Cleveland team after such a bad loss. But I love T. Higgins here. I think he scores at least 1 touchdown, and Joe Burrow loves him. And if Joe Burrow loves him, I mean, I have to love him. You have to love him.
Yeah, I mean, Burrow has been really good so far this season. He has not been shy throwing the ball around the field. They are not going to, there's a chance they might not have Joe Mixon this week.
Yep.
So I think they're going to have to lean on the passing game even more. So, and as you said, T. Higgins has been the number 1 guy for Joe Burrow. It's still amazing that AJ Green, even with the injury stuff, I'm still shocked that
he's not going to be getting double covered anymore. I mean, they have players there who demand attention. It's not like AJ Green is that guy you go in having to stop. AJ Green is just another receiver in the receiver room now.
It's crazy to think after how many great Pro Bowl caliber seasons he's had. But T. Higgins I really like that pick. I mean, he was a 1.8 last week, and now he's jumped to the 1.6, and I don't even think that shouldn't even deter anybody. He's going to be that number 1 guy in this game for the Cincinnati Bengals. So I like that pick a lot. So moving on to fades now. So my guy that I'm going to fade this week is another running back. It is not really even his fault. It's really his team's fault. It is Clyde Edwards-HELAIRE, whatever you want to pronounce, however you want to pronounce the last. Yeah, Steve Levy likes to go with the Elaire, but I'm going to just go with Alaire because that's what a normal person does. So Clyde Edwards-HELAIRE he's most likely going to be the second running back this week because they just brought in Le'Veon Bell from the New York Jets, who got released. They signed him, and he's going to expected to be active this week. So I think he's going to take away carries from Alaire, and the multiplier hasn't really adjusted for that. It's still at 1.35. So I think really that is the thing alone that would make me stay away from him altogether.
Yeah.
Is the upside just isn't there with the carries going down. The upside is just not going to be there with him. And I also think that, Denver, the Broncos they beat the Patriots last week, which
did they, Kyle? Did the Broncos beat the Patriots? What was the score of that game?
It was 18-12. It was
I didn't catch that.
It was a disgraceful performance by the offensive line and Cam Newton. It was really bad.
So what you're saying is if Brian Hoyer plays, then do the Patriots win that game? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't believe that's the case, but what I do believe is Denver has a good run defense. They shut down the Patriots. They've had some success against the other teams that they faced this year. On the ground, they are third in fantasy points per game allowed to opposing running backs. So I think with all those factors, it's just this is not going to be a week for Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I think.
Yeah, and even on run plays too. I mean, Le'Veon Bell can catch the ball out of the backfield. Andy Reid loves throwing to his running backs in his career. You saw it with Kareem Hunt most recently, even a little bit with Helaire, all the way back to Brian Westbrook. He's the type of player that Andy Reid loves to build an offense around. Darren Sproles, you don't know if he's going to demand that attention right away, but it should definitely take your eyes a little bit away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, and I think it is possible that he does still remain the starting running back over Bell, but Bell coming in just brings in that risk that I just wouldn't want to take. I would have to see if Clyde Edwards-Helaire got that got the load of a main running back this week, then I would have more faith going forward, but I wouldn't take that risk this week with Bell coming in. So
exactly. A lot of unknowns. You're a man of principle. You are.
Exactly. So
all right, I'm fading. You have all these numbers, all these reasons why you're fading Clyde Edwards-Helaire. You're the analytics guy, right? That's you. I'm Manalytics. I have no stats to back up what I'm about to say, but I am fading the hell out of Teddy Bridgewater. I'm a gut guy. My gut is never wrong. My gut is huge now that we're in however many month we are in this coronavirus pandemic where I've been home slugging waters because that's all I do all day. It's all water weight, eating all of the fried plantains that I'm eating, all the pizza, everything. My gut is on high alert. It has never been bigger. It's never been better. And I'm fading Teddy Bridgewater. And we can throw a little bit of knowledge in there too. Going against the Saints. Saints, their defense has not looked great this year. It is not the defense we saw last year. They're coming off of a bye. We know Teddy Bridgewater started for this team for a few games. I believe it was 6 games last season when Drew Brees was hurt. This team knows his weaknesses. They know his strengths. They knew they were going into this 2 weeks ago off of a bye. This is a good spot, I think, for the Saints to jump back up in the power rankings and have a statement game specifically with their defense. And I'm not playing any Teddy Bridgewater this weekend because of it, and that's a gut play.
Okay. I think it's a good pick. It's just I think Teddy has been he's shown some good, he's played pretty well these last few weeks, and I think this is definitely for what you just said about the Saints knowing him from him being there last year. This could definitely be one of those games where he looks like the Teddy Bridgewater in Minnesota.
Yeah, he looks like the backup quarterback that we know Teddy Bridgewater.
Exactly, right. And I think I like Teddy Bridgewater a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, he seems like a great dude. He had that horrible knee injury with the Vikings. Like, it's hard to root against him, but he definitely he isn't consistent enough to rely on him from on a consistent basis, fantasy wise. So I think the Saints will be ready for him. And I like the pick. I don't think anyone's going to be really dying to take Teddy Bridgewater this week.
Exactly. I agree. They're going to be scared away. He's got that juicy multiplier. He's had a couple good games under his belt recently, but I'm staying away right now.
Yeah, not as juicy as it once was. It was around the 1.8, 1.7 range. And, there is a difference, obviously, between that and 1-6. So that's, I think he just isn't as valuable as he was before. So
exactly. All right, on to long shots, Kyle. We just missed on some long shots last week. Who are we going with?
The long shots they're called long shots for a reason. They either hit or they miss horribly, which Zacchaeus, I don't even know if I'm pronouncing his name right.
You said that correctly.
I am.
Zacchaeus.
There you go. I think he had 1 catch last week. So like, whatever. I mean, that's going to happen when you're picking these long shot guys. Yeah. So, but this week I feel more confident in this one because of the track record that this guy has. So Marvin Jones of the Detroit Lions, he's a 1.8x, 1.85x this week. He's a good underrated receiver. He hasn't had a great year this year. Not putting up great numbers. He's dealt with some injuries and stuff. But the thing that gives me optimism is he is again facing, we've gone back to this theme 1,000 times. He's playing the Atlanta Falcons, who week after week, they just give up a ton of yards to receivers, quarterbacks, fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks and wide receivers. And I just don't think that's going to change. I mean, it didn't change last week when, even with Dan Quinn gone, it didn't change last week with Raheem Morris as their head coach.
Yeah.
Jefferson got a bunch of yards and touchdowns, as we said before. Adam Thielen, even though he didn't have a lot of yards and catches, he scored a touchdown last week. Kirk Cousins put up a lot of garbage time yards. So I think Matthew Stafford is going to be putting the ball up in the air a lot. And Marvin Jones is second in targets this year for the Detroit Lions behind TJ Hawkinson. So I think he's going to be seeing the ball coming his way a lot this week. And we've seen what he can do. Last year, 62 catches, 779 yards, 9 touchdowns. And I think this is going to be the week where we see Marvin Jones have like a 5-catch, 80-yard, 1 touchdown type of game. Okay. And with at 1.85x, I think he provides really good value there. So, I really like Marvin Jones.
I like it too. I love the Lions. Bert's right. Big Lions guy.
Big Lions.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Leave it to the Lions. They're going to get smacked by the damn Falcons. It's going to happen.
They're basically like a mirror image. It's like the Spider-Man meme.
Yeah, it is the Spider-Man meme. Yeah.
Just the Falcons and Lions with great offenses, can't stop anything, and they blow games in horrendous fashion. They're the same team, so it's going to be fun to watch.
They are.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's kind of why you like these teams, though, because they're fun to watch. They have fun. It's
chaos. They should do well. They don't. At the end of the game, they do well, just a little too late.
When Matt Ryan and Matthew Stafford move on from the Falcons and the Lions, Jameis Winston has to be the quarterback for one of those teams.
Yes.
I mean, the amount of touchdowns and the 30 interceptions he throws, I mean, he just has to be.
He's perfect. He's plug and play for either of those teams.
Exactly. So, I that's my long shot pick. Who do you got?
My long shot, and honestly, it feels like cheating. Like I feel like I'm cheating on a test and I'm getting an A+ because Justin Jackson all the way down at 1.9x. We know the injury to Austin Eckler a few weeks ago. Justin Jackson and Kelly have been the guys in that backfield. 2 weeks ago, before the bye, against the Saints. Jackson, not a huge game, respectable, 15 carries for 71 yards, 5 catches on 6 targets for 23 yards. Kelly didn't do so hot in that game, 11 carries for 29, 1 catch for 9 yards. The last 3 weeks, the Jaguars have allowed 146 yards per game on the ground and over 6 yards per carry in those games. They're Swiss cheese on defense, especially on that defensive line in that front 7. They're rested after a bye week. I think Justin Jackson has the highest upside. Obviously, his multiplier is higher than Kelly's, but this feels like a steal. It doesn't even feel like a long shot because this just seems like a home run to me.
Yeah, he's going to be like the starting running back for them. Yeah. So, and he was good last year when Eckler and Gordon had to deal with injuries. Both of them were hurt last year. So he's a proven guy. So, I might be looking at him at a
Bert,
gold
Bert,
glove
you want to
spot.
hear it? Bert's asking, tell me he's a lock. He's a lock. you lock it in. Justin Jackson, lock him into your lineups. Unless you're playing me, then don't. I don't want to have to see him go against me. But I am definitely going to play Justin Jackson a lot this weekend. He's a lot.
I will too. Gold Club.
Gold Club?
Yeah. Not to spoil my picks for anyone who's in the Gold Club that's watching, but I'll be picking.
All right. We got a few minutes left, so we can still hammer
quickly
out some stacks here. Kyle, who we got for your stack this weekend?
So we're staying on the theme of the Falcons and the Lions. I love that game so much. Just offensive firepower, no defense. So Matthew Stafford, he's not a Hall of Fame quarterback. He's just not. He's just not in the Hall of Fame. He's never going to be a Hall of Famer, but he should be.
We only have a few minutes. Get past that bad take. Just keep going.
He should be in the Hall of Fame for fantasy football, though. So he's going to put up some numbers here for the Lions against this dreadful Falcons defense. I think this is going to be a close game. So Todd Gurley, I think, is going to be able to run the ball well against the Detroit Lions. And Kenny Galladay, who's the number one receiver for the Lions, star level, Pro Bowl talented Lions receiver. I think he's going to have a huge game for the Lions. So I think that's a big stack. So go ahead. What is going on with your mic?
No, I couldn't really hear you because you were just spewing buffoonery into the microphone, talking about my Lord and Savior Fat Stafford in a negative way. I don't like that. I don't appreciate it. He's a father. He is a son. He is a husband, and he's done a lot of good for a lot of people, Kyle.
Well, the joke is on you because you immediately tuned out right as I stopped talking about him. So there you go. You just missed all my other takes. So the joke's on you, pal.
Well, if a guy's spewing hate on Matt Stafford, I don't want to hear what he's got to say.
Go with your stack, please.
All right, Kyle. I will go with my stack. My stack did pretty well last week, as we talked about. Call me Stacky Squishy Stacks. A little pat on the back there.
Give yourself a pat on the back, Paul.
And a lot of this has to do with something you said earlier, Kyle. Aaron Jones. The big reason why the Packers fell so far behind last week, turnovers through the air with Aaron Rodgers. They're best when they work through Aaron Jones, work off play action. Like you said, I think they're going to really work on that early in the game. That's when they're at their best. Feed the ball to Aaron Jones. Deshaun Watson at quarterback, just like last week, and two of his pass catchers. That's what you need. So basically, when I say what I did last week, Watson, Henry, Fuller, and/or Cooks, do the same thing. Deshaun Watson, Aaron Jones, Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks. Cooks has shown the past couple of weeks he can return to form like he did early on in New England. And when he was in New Orleans, he's still a capable receiver. And Will Fuller has been healthy this year. And what did we say in our pretty much our first show ever, Kyle? When Will Fuller's healthy, you play him.
I know. This is like the shocker of the season so far that he's been healthy. This has been the year of the injuries, and this guy has somehow stayed healthy.
Yeah.
Not knock on wood, because that's not gonna. I don't know if that's gonna last very long. Apologies to Will Fuller and his family if he does get hurt after this.
Yes, our preemptive condolences to Will Fuller in his hamstring, because he will undoubtedly become very hurt in the next couple weeks. All right, that was Fantasy Gainz for Week 7. I am Squish. That is Kyle. We will see you next week for some more NFL action. We hope you have a great weekend. Win some money.